Hello.
Hello.
Hi,
Hello.
Yeah, hello.
how are you?
I
What's
am
going
good
on? Are
and
we are
you?
you opposition?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you're open to talking about anything other than overthrowing the government as far as Trump, but I'm more than willing to also talk about Biden and whether who's worse and stuff like that.
All right.
Okay, we can do that. What's your principled take here?
Okay, so I personally think Biden is just as bad as Trump.
It's just as bad?
Yes,
In what
and
regard?
honestly, in every regard. So
Okay.
he
Well, can you be
Mhm.
specific?
Yeah, for sure. So, for example, he did not fulfill like any of his promises as far as student loan
Yes.
debt forgiveness.
Well,
He
yeah, he
promised.
has.
No, he didn't. He forgave 1 billion, which is only
It's been 6
1%.
billion.
Okay, so six
Yeah, it's been,
percent,
it's been
not much better.
I mean that's so I mean the
Don't let
Republicans
that be
fought
the
him
enemy
on
of
it, but that doesn't
perfect.
I like right.
Yeah,
So
but
just
he
because he
had a
didn't
way to.
do something to the way that you wanted it to be does not make him as bad as Donald Trump.
Okay, well, that's just one
Biden
You
has
may
example.
be
That's
forgiven
not the way
disappointed
that
in
I
him.
wanted it to
136
be. I
billion in student debt.
That's how what that's what he campaigned and
No, this has happened.
promised.
This is as of February. Biden's forgiven 136 billion in student debt.
136
More
billion,
than
you said?
3.7 million borrowers have gotten their student debt forgiven while President Joe Biden's been in office, and more relief is expected.
That's I don't know. I might have to fact check that. So
Yep.
also, let's see, what else has he done? Oil drilling production has skyrocketed under Biden. This is the guy who was, trying to fight
Okay.
climate change. Um, let's see, his
Okay, yeah, that's not
anti
good, but it's not as
right,
Wait,
bad as
so
his
him
Trump.
canceling
I mean, you're
student debt
talking about
for
Trump.
yeah, him canceling 136 billion in student debt is as bad as Donald Trump not doing that.
Trump gave us more stimulus money under COVID.
We're talking
So
student
so did
debt, ma'am.
Trump, or so did Biden.
No, Biden promised, what was
I'm
it?
sorry. Can we stay on topic, please? We're talking student debt,
I mean, I was giving a whole list of
Yeah,
reasons which you
what's
asked, but yeah,
but
we
we
can talk
weren't
about
talking
student
about
debt.
COVID relief. We're talking about student debt.
Okay, let's talk about student debt. That's fine.
Joe Biden canceling 136 billion is as bad as Donald Trump not doing that.
Well, Trump never ran on canceling student loan debt, but
Then
as
how are
far
they
as
just as bad?
what I'm saying is Biden promised that he was going to
how much?
forgive a lot.
How much, Jaden?
136.6 billion has been canceled.
Okay, sorry, go ahead.
That's still
Okay, so 136 billion canceled versus zero. You said permits, or well, you said oil drilling.
yes, he more than doubled it.
Okay, so do you want to like cover environmentalism, or you just want to cover like drilling oil? Because there's a larger argument to be had about Donald Trump and his environmental policies. So, just to point out, when we're talking about drilling oil, yes, Joe Biden did break his promise on that. Nobody's debating. There's like political considerations, but yes, he did lie on that. He did break his promise on that. However, if you're looking at the environmental policies and even the oil policies, the climate change policies of Donald Trump versus Joe Biden, worlds different. Joe Biden believes in climate change. Donald Trump doesn't. And his administration said that there is climate change and we'll have 4 degrees Celsius rise by the end of the century. And effectively, fucking nothing we can do about it. Donald Trump pulled us out of the Paris Climate Accord. He tried to put forth the Keystone XL pipeline. So he put forth the Keystone XL and tried to pass the permit for that ended up getting canceled. He put through a ton of permits to drill without ever doing an environmental impact on them. He revoked 100+ EPA regulations that allowed things like dumping of coal ash into the ground to poison people and allowing ethylene oxide to go into air of predominantly impoverished places that affect people of color. So Joe Biden, by contrast, has raised taxes on oil producers to cover oil spills, yada, 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 as well as put in regulations requiring them to have clean, environmentally more sound oil drilling operations, like capturing stacks that capture natural gas so that it doesn't go up into the atmosphere. So this is some of the things that Joe Biden has done. Before all the Republicans go after me about Joe Biden increasing the cost to drill, they actually save money because that money goes back into investment into the thing. So these companies will actually save money long term. It just forces them to do it because they're going to be having a more efficient process.
Well, from what I'm seeing, the Biden administration is slowing key emissions rules, which would be a potential huge blow to the EV industry
Emissions
growth.
rules? So I'm
Hmm.
not sure what you're in reference to. Yeah, I would have to see what you're talking in reference to.
Like emissions, he was going to put out legislation to try to curb emissions from, gasoline powered cars. And the whole point was to try to get people to buy, EV type of cars. And
So there are regulations set up from the 2009 auto bailout that if you take money, you have to have certain regulations by a certain amount of time. I haven't heard any deviation from that, though. I'm not saying you're wrong. I just don't know.
that's fair. Another thing that I found interesting, and I'm not a Trump supporter, but I'm attacking or really criticizing Biden from the left. He promised that he would not have another foot of the border wall, and that's not true. He went on to actually build more of Trump's border wall, and it was very dangerous too. It had an anti-climb feature that overhangs on the southern side. People that fall from the top of the wall have way worse injuries because it's been moved 30 feet up.
Yeah.
This
So,
actually had a land dispute for a family that had land
okay.
near the border wall would be, and their land was taken also just for him to build more of the border wall on it.
Yeah. So the border wall funding was put forth years forward or years before and was basically it had to be spent. Like the law required it to be spent. There's no way they can do it because Congress has the power of the purse. You can't just say, I'm not going to fund this for no reason.
I mean, if you're saying that Congress has more power than Biden, I mean,
They do.
there's been times
For
that
funds, they
okay,
do.
When it comes to the
he had
power of the
no
purse.
problem bypassing Congress to give Israel an extra $14 billion on top of the
No, he
automatic
didn't.
3 billion they
No,
get.
no,
That's
no,
not what
he
happened.
didn't. He didn't.
Yeah, he did.
No, he didn't bypass Congress. That's not what happened. He has
Yes,
what's
he
called
did.
drawdown authority, which is given to him by Congress.
Okay, but regardless, he sits there and always wants to make the argument, oh, I can't do anything. Republicans are fighting me.
Well, I mean,
But when it
so
comes,
no, he's gotten a lot done. Like the Republicans are fighting him. He's gotten a lot done in spite of that. So,
Like student debt.
student debt, he got the PACT Act, the CHIPS Act, the American Recovery Plan, the Infrastructure Bill, the Inflation Reduction Act, limited insulin. There's a lot of good things that Joe Biden has done, and if you're going to let perfect be the enemy of good, then nothing Joe Biden does is ever going to be good enough for you. But the reality is there's few presidents that could get as much passed in 4 years as he has with as much opposition as he's had. So,
right. But I mean, he
yes, Nirvana
also
fallacy.
is,
Yep.
he literally, when he was running for president, he said that nothing would fundamentally change. And I think he stuck to that promise. He said he would decriminalize at least, I don't know if I can say that word, but what he was saying he would decriminalize, which didn't
Grass, he did.
happen.
No, he did.
No, he
No,
didn't.
he did. It didn't get removed from a Schedule 2, but so he exonerated records on it.
No, he did not.
Yes, he did. He exonerated records for low-level misdemeanors and low-level felonies, non-trafficking felonies for grass. The one
Okay,
thing he
so that was
didn't,
for
the one thing
people
he
in federal
can't do,
prisons.
the one thing he can't do is change the schedule classification of grass. That has to be done by Congress. But he did. He did. It was
Okay,
about
so that was
6,000
only
people. It's not
for
like it's a ton of people, but 6,000 people got their sentences exonerated.
All right, that
yeah,
was
but those
federal
were people that
possession.
were not in those were people that were not in prison anymore. It was only federal prisons, and so not a single person was released from prison due
Right, but
to these
6,000
They still have
people,
wrongful.
criminal records.
yeah, 6,000 people had their
Right, I
records
understand that,
exonerated.
but I can't. I'm looking right now for what where I saw it, but no, the people never actually got their records exonerated or expunged.
Yeah, they were supposed to. I don't know why
Yeah,
they
but they
wouldn't have.
didn't. Just like a
Okay.
lot of things that he was supposed to do, he didn't.
Why would they not
Also,
have gotten their record expunged when he is the person that holds clemency over those crimes?
I mean, I could ask you why he didn't do a lot of things that he said that he would do and has the power to do.
Okay,
Why didn't he
can
codify
you show
Roe?
me where people you can't caught up? It
He
doesn't
can't
matter.
do that.
He can't do it,
Yes,
and it
he
doesn't
can.
matter. No, he
No,
can't.
he can't.
Listen,
Yes, he can.
okay, I'm going to be honest with you. This is what I hear from low. This isn't a knock on you, okay? This is what I hear from low information leftists, liberals, whatever, that want to have a gripe with Biden that don't understand how the system works. Even if Roe v. Wade was codified, okay, the Respect for Marriage Act that was a codification of Obergefell v. Hodges. If the Supreme Court wanted to overturn those, guess what? No codification inside of our laws can make that beyond reproach. Supreme Court can toss it out at will because they are the arbiters of what the law says. And if they say this law's bunk because of this or whatever, they make shit up all the time, they can just throw it out. It has nothing to do. The same thing with Roe v. Wade. Even if you codified Roe v. Wade, they can overthrow it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Okay, so
I mean, we literally saw in the 14th Amendment in the Trump Colorado case, they rendered a section of the Constitution completely useless. And it's crystal clear in what it says.
Okay, here we go. Biden falsely suggests marijuana pardons, expunged records.
If you could say grass.
Sorry, I'm so sorry. You're right. Biden falsely suggests grass pardons, expunged records. There is an article on grassmoment.net. I don't want to say that word. The certificate says the pardon means you're forgiven, but you still have a criminal record. Also, of those thousands who earned the clemency, no one was released from prison as a result, despite Biden insinuating as much. There are still people in federal prison over other nonviolent grass offenses. Not to mention, he fired those White House aides for failing,
the Justice Department has been distributing certificates to eligible people who apply for the document. Yeah, so it looks like they were given a document showing that they had been pardoned. I'm looking because this does not give very good info on it.
There's a good article from reason.com that talks about it.
Yeah, so they were given pardons. I don't know if it's still on their criminal records. This website says it at least, but I don't see anything backing it up. Just what's written on this. Yeah, it says they're issuing pardon certificates. I don't know how they would go about removing it, but they are offering people certificates of pardon. I just want to point out Donald Trump wants So, I mean, the thing here is who's better. And your complaint in this instance is Joe Biden did not expunge their records. Meanwhile, Donald Trump wants to unalive nonviolent grass offenders. So
I think it's he wants to unalive the people that provide that service.
Yeah,
and that's just as bad as Joe Biden.
Not absolutely.
And those are the same.
What's comparable in Joe Biden's area?
What's comparable?
To unaliving people.
I mean, he said that he would. I mean, I don't even know if I can say it, but I mean,
nothing. The answer is nothing.
Well, I mean, he's literally funding and backing a G word.
That's not what I asked. That's not what I asked. What is comparable to unaliving people for drug possession on Joe Biden's side?
Joe Biden was the author and architect of the
I'm talking now. Many of those provisions have long been repealed.
No, they haven't.
Yes, they have.
Not really. I mean, we still have mass incarceration. We still have people. I mean, Kamala Harris laughed about smoking grass when she was the, quote, top cop who held people.
I don't care.
Of course you don't care.
Listen.
That's my whole argument with liberals.
We're not liberals.
I'm not a liberal.
Oh my God, we're not liberals.
Okay,
listen.
Well, you're saying that Biden is better, so how is that not a liberal?
Okay,
we're pragmatists.
Can you tell me something? Listen, I want you to just do me one favor, okay? I want you to give me something as abysmal that the Biden administration has done as increasing, I don't know, like let's just go through the list here, right? Something that Biden has done that Trump would not. Something Biden has done that Trump would not, and something as aggravated as separating kids at the border.
Biden did that. The kids are still being separated at the border.
No, they're not.
No, they're not. He put together a commission to bring them back.
That's not true.
Please stop, because I really hate this. I really hate this where people come in here and then they don't know what they're talking about, and so their response is, please stop. How old are you?
I'm 28 years old. How old are you?
Awesome, cool.
25.
So, right, I'm in my 30s. Okay, I really hate this argument of people that have just caught on to politics. As someone that remembers, please, yes, yeah, you did, yeah, you did, yes, you did, yes, you did.
How long have you been in politics?
I remember. I was going to tell you. I remember sitting in front of the TV at 13, watching us invade Iraq, thinking about how horrible of a mistake it was. So I've been doing this for a while, as it would turn out, and I It's funny because I have like people that say they're leftists. They'd come in here all the time and call me liberal. Like, I promise you, I am more progressive than you, and I know more than you. I just live in reality. And this is the whole point, is that like you're okay. So I'm asking you, tell me. I told you to tell me one thing that Donald Trump or that Joe Biden has done that Donald Trump wouldn't. That's as abysmal as the separation policy. And your answer was the separation policy is still going on.
It is. Biden kept the Title 42 policy.
Title 42 has nothing to do with separation.
I understand that, but I'm saying the other things on top of the separation of the families, Biden's doing the same things as Trump.
No, he's not.
And here's my whole point. If you will let me finish, this is what I'm trying to say.
But you're not factually correct. The zero tolerance policy was put in place and repealed by the Trump administration under Sessions.
Okay, it was put in place.
And it has nothing to do. It has nothing to do with Title 42. And Joe Biden, one of the first things he did was put together a commission to put those families back together. And he's put most of them back together. So what do you mean that they're still separating families at the border?
Deported under
That's
Biden
not family separation. The portion happened under Donald Trump.
Okay.
I'm asking you very concisely, super concisely, one single thing that Joe Biden has done that Donald Trump wouldn't, that's worse than separating kids. That's it. That's all I've asked. Just one thing that Joe Biden has did.
It doesn't have to be regarding immigration?
Literally anything. And I know what you're going to say. Yep.
What am I going to say?
Go ahead.
Funding a G-side.
That's how you're going to go.
Do you not think he's doing that?
That's what
Do you not think Trump would?
I think that Trump probably wouldn't. I'm not a Trump supporter, okay?
Trump wouldn't. So when Trump called him, it can't get worse. So Trump calling Bibi weak. Can you tell me what happened with the drone program under Donald Trump, or what happened with global relations or anything like that? Because I hate this thing. And this is when I say low information leftists. Maybe you're liberal. I don't know. Is you guys come in here, okay? You didn't pay attention. Can you tell me what's going on in Yemen?
Yeah,
can you tell me anything?
Yemen that
can you tell me anything?
Proxy war, but with Saudi Arabia.
Cool. Can you tell me anything? All right, let's just test your knowledge here really quick. Can you tell me anything about can you tell me anything about Trump's drone program?
It exacerbated under Trump, but Biden was the one that started the drone program.
No, he didn't.
No, Biden didn't start.
How did Joe Biden start the drone program?
I rated you from Harry because I just wanted to debate
Joe Biden did not at all. Well, here's what I find funny is that you guys this is what I find funny.
Start the drone program.
Start the drone program. That was started
I
under
said
Bush.
Obama started the drone program.
You said Biden.
It was started under Bush.
Again, it predated Obama.
Okay, if I said Obama, if I said Trump, if I said Obama, jeez, if I said Biden, then I misspoke. I was saying it started under Obama, it got worse under Trump, and it got even more worse under Biden.
It didn't get more worse.
It didn't
Donald
get worse
Trump
under
upped
Biden.
drone strikes by 450%. Joe Biden's actively moving to reduce them.
It actually, you know what? It went significantly down under Biden. In fact, he, until recently, had not himself ordered a drone strike in over a year. So, and Donald Trump was doing about one every other day, but one every day, two every day is what it worked out to. And what I find annoying is that I watch low information leftists, this isn't a knock again, this is just the reality, come in and they go, oh, there is this issue in Palestine that is so significant that we have to say it to everything else going on in the world and ignore the consequences of Donald Trump coming into office. Because the consequences of Donald Trump this is the consequences. I'm going to give you the exact consequences, okay? The drone program is going to go up. This is going to be the thing. The drone program is going to go back up. They're going to start bombing civilians again. He's going to call Bibi weak.
They are already bombing civilians.
Listen, they've
been bombing civilians in Lebanon and Syria and
Lebanon and Syria.
Countries.
So you're talking about because
Israel deals with a bomb.
And I'm aware. And I'm aware. And I criticized him. Yeah, I'm aware. And I criticized him. See how that works? But for you to say that Donald Trump's drone program that killed over 10,000 people in the Middle East throughout his tenure is somehow anywhere remotely close, and the 85,000 children that starved in Yemen, and the Kurds that he abandoned. If you think this, and the Doha agreement that he set up to withdraw, if you think this stuff is anything remotely comparable to what Joe Biden is doing or has done, And we're not even living in the same universe. This is what's going to happen, okay? If Donald Trump becomes in office, there will be nobody telling Bibi to stop. There will be nobody applying pressure to Bibi to
You
stop.
think that Biden is telling Bibi to stop?
Yes.
Yes. Come to Jesus.
Yeah, he
No,
has.
he's not.
Yes,
He's
he's told.
absolutely
He
not.
said it publicly.
No.
He said it publicly.
Yes, he said it public, right? But then
Yeah.
behind closed doors, he's telling Bibi, "Hey, I'm having to say right now that I'm telling you to stop because it's
Behind
really
closed
hurting
doors, he
our
wants him
numbers."
ousted.
How are you knowing this? How do you know this?
Because
Do you
it
have like
came
privy to
out.
information?
There's been
It doesn't. It just
it's
came out during the
on
State of the Union address. Joe Biden said, we're going to have a come to Jesus moment with Bibi. He has actively talked about Bibi. He's talked about literally approving the ceasefire in spite of Bibi. They're talking about like a whole of stuff against Bibi to try and get him out. And Joe Biden's furious. And if you
Fun
think,
fact.
and the thing, I think the thing that's
Yeah.
funny, so let me finish real quick. I think the thing that's funny is like, you have a guy that even though I think that Joe Biden has not done a good job in handling Bibi, for all of the reasons I said early on, which is that Bibi is not going to listen no matter what Joe Biden does, so he needs to separate himself from what's going on. And he didn't. And now he's paying for that. But Donald Trump is literally going to allow Gaza to be occupied and bombarded until there's nobody there. Donald Trump is going to allow a Ukrainian genocide and defunding them. No, not to the scale of what I'm talking about. Donald Trump is going to allow a genocide in Ukraine. Donald Trump is going to increase the drone program. Donald Trump is going to antagonize Iran. Donald Trump is going to increase the support for Saudi Arabia and Yemen. Donald Trump is going to put America in a really bad spot. And you don't see
in a
that.
bad spot right now. I'm not saying that Trump
I
is
literally
so great,
asked
but
for one thing.
You're saying they're as bad.
So I'm just asking you. I'm just asking you for one.
I am saying, can I? I've been trying to say this one point for like 10 minutes.
Sure.
Now. All I'm saying is the reason why I do appreciate one of the only good things about Trump being in office is liberals, I guess pragmatics, like you call yourself. They only get angry and they will fire up the, let everyone know how angry they are anytime Trump does anything. But then when Biden does it, they turn around and they just don't really care. They go back to brunch. So
I don't think you're getting this. I don't think you're getting this. The stuff that Donald Trump did, listen, the Donald Trump the stuff that he did wasn't a matter of him just ignoring what was going on in the world. It was a matter of him actively participating in it. The problem is that you're short-sighted, right? You see the conflict in Gaza and you're like, well, it's going bad under Joe Biden, so I'll give it to a more genocidal person to handle because that'll go well. No, it won't. You guys are short-sighted in looking at this and going, look, this conflict is going on, right? This conflict does not look good for Joe Biden. Your solution is get rid of Joe Biden. He's equal to Donald Trump. And that's so naive because I can give you dozens of conflicts across the world that Donald Trump up. And your response is like, oh, well, Gaza. Okay, what do you think is going to happen? Do you think it's going to get better under Trump?
No, but everything that you're saying
then it doesn't matter.
Is already happening right now.
No, it's not.
Why aren't you angry about that?
No, it is not.
You're making my point right now.
I'm sorry. What?
Yes,
let me ask you a question. Let me ask you just a question. Just a question. What is happening right now that would happen under Donald Trump?
Let's see. Widespread G-word starvation in levels that have like unprecedented in modern history. We're seeing women and children disproportionately killed. We're seeing women not be able to give birth without medications. Children's limbs are being amputated without anesthesia.
Would you like to know something? All that happened under Donald Trump's watch as well, and more.
Not at this.
No, it did. Scale. It did. The bombing. No. Yes, it did. Them blowing up buildings in the West Bank. Them blowing up buildings in Gaza. Yeah. Yeah, it happened under him as well. You can say it can't happen you can say it's not happened to this degree, but it absolutely did happen under him. And you're saying that somehow we should ignore all of the other consequences of Donald Trump coming into office, which is what I don't understand. You are talking about hundreds of thousands or millions of people being genocided in Ukraine. You are talking about 13 million people that were on the brink of starvation under Donald Trump. You're talking about 44 million people that were under the brink of starvation under Donald Trump in Afghanistan. You are talking about a whole host, or because of the things that he did in Afghanistan, you're talking about a whole host of that he up that you guys continue to ignore. And you treat these people as the same. They're not. You can dislike Biden for this and dislike Biden for that and be specific about it. This idea that, oh, they're the same because I disagree with Joe Biden or Joe Biden's doing a job in this respect is not true. Like, we don't have a president that tried, Joe Biden didn't try to overthrow the United States government. He didn't say to shoot migrants or protesters. He didn't separate families. He didn't increase the drone program. He didn't pull out of Syria. The list goes on. They're not the same. You may dislike Joe Biden and the thing that he's doing in that instance, and that's fine. I completely understand. But for you to say that they're the same and that it's going to get better or not matter if Donald Trump is in office is wild.
Okay, for you to say that, and I agree that what's been happening in Gaza did not or Palestine in general, did not just happen in the past 6 months. This has been decades long of an issue. But the sheer scale of unalivement going on is completely, it's so disproportionate. Over around 40.
Did you ever blame Donald Trump for Ukraine?
Did I blame Donald Trump for Ukraine?
Did you blame Donald Trump for the genocide that happened in Ukraine? The 500,000 people that have died in the military and the unknown amount of civilians that's somewhere in the hundreds of thousands.
Well, if we're going to talk about the whole Ukraine situation,
I'm just asking you, did you ever blame Donald Trump for that?
I honestly just saw it as, I can give you a lot of things that I've blamed Trump for. I don't know really if I've blamed
because
Trump
he's responsible for the invasion of Ukraine.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
NATO is responsible for it.
No, he's not. NATO's not responsible. Donald Trump is responsible.
In 2014, the United States backed a coup.
Oh, boy.
Who was the president then in Ukraine? What's Svoboda?
The guy that got overthrown.
Who?
What's his name?
I can't remember his name, but that doesn't mean
listen, there wasn't a coup.
Yanukovych.
There wasn't a coup, okay? I just hate this leftist talking point that you just pick from the thing. There wasn't a coup. It happened too quick.
There was a coup.
There wasn't a coup. What's the evidence?
The fact that the United States literally backed this puppet regime to go in be anti-Russia when before
no, they didn't.
There were parts of
you're wrong.
That wanted to be.
You're wrong. Who was the president? Who was the president? Please stop. Who was the president that came in after Yanukovych?
I'm blanking on
who is the president? Okay, the president is Petro Poroshenko. He is not a Western leader, nor at any point was he backed by the United States until it became clear well after Yanukovych left, removed himself from power. Petro Poroshenko is not pro-Russian, but he's not pro-West. He's more pro-Russian than anything. Or at least supportive of them. So you just say that there's a regime that we backed up. There's no evidence that we did it, whatever. But it doesn't matter.
There's tons
the point
of
is this: Donald Trump.
That he didn't want to send guns to Ukraine because that was too destabilizing, and he knew
it was too destabilized in 2014.
Exactly. So why? No, I'm saying that. While while Obama understood that the repercussions of arming Ukraine was not a good idea.
Do you understand that we did? Please stop talking. Do you understand that we did not give Ukraine for the first month and a half they were at war? You're aware of that, right?
Okay, but we didn't.
We did not. Listen for a second. The only thing that we gave Ukraine in those first months was the security assistance that we had already previously offered to them year over year. We didn't send them shit because we didn't send them shit because we thought for the same reason. We didn't send them shit because we thought they were too destabilized. We thought that they couldn't create a country. We thought that they would fall. That's why we didn't fund them. And then the weapons flowed in because they stabilized themselves as a country and repelled Russian and showed nationalism, some degree of unification within the country that they previously didn't have.
Okay, but you understand.
Donald Trump, but here's the point, okay, is that at no point have you blamed Donald Trump for the bombings that happened in the West Bank under his presidency and the bombings that happened in Gaza and the fact that he destabilized, or at least perceived to have destabilized NATO enough that Putin felt secure in invading Ukraine? None of that you're blaming him for. You're not blaming him for the drone program. You're not blaming him for the 44 million Afghans that were in the middle of a starvation because of the Doha agreement that he arranged. You're not blaming him for any of that. Which is wild to me.
I'm blaming him for moving the U.S. Embassy to Jerusalem. I'm blaming him for... I can blame him for tons of things.
You blaming him for the Kurds? You guys don't, though. Did it?
Hey,
Can you tell me? Can you tell me at one
blame-
point, please? Can you tell me at one point, at any point in the 2020 election, where leftists were talking about what Donald Trump did with the Doha Agreement, or what Donald Trump did with the drone program, or what Donald Trump was doing with the Abraham Accords that helped lead to what's currently going on? The answer is no, none of you did. So it's disingenuous, and this is
true.
That is true.
That's
That's
a
100% true.
generalization right
That's
there.
not.
You can't just say no one said that. That just goes
I
to
am
show
saying
how
it
bad
was
faith
not
you're acting
a.
right now.
Oh, now she's grandstanding. I have some news for you since you don't know who I am. I've been on this app for almost 4 years now. I covered the 2020 election extensively to a point that would probably make you physically ill. I heard the arguments. I watched the ads. I was on here on a daily basis debating people. I know what was said. And what was never said was Donald Trump's drone program. What was never said was the bombings in Gaza. They talked about COVID. Nothing that you purport to care about was talked about, period.
Okay, I agree that I'm not saying that Trump was great to Palestinians during his while he was president. Again, he moved the embassy to Jerusalem, which caused a lot of issues. But my question to you is, do you blame Biden for anything?
Do I blame Biden for
Yes.
anything? Yeah, I do. Yeah.
What do you blame him for?
Okay. Well, I blame him, interestingly enough, for what you were saying, the
Willow
student
Project?
loans. Student loans. He did the word. Sorry, go ahead, Jaden.
The Willow Project, that being one. His initial response to the war, the Israel-Palestine conflict, being another.
Just his initial response, not anything after that?
I can't fault him for his current response because I think that's where the Democratic Party, where the United States should be right now.
That's not true.
Moving us
Over
away.
70% of Americans as a whole want a permanent ceasefire.
Yes. And funnily enough, I wanted to bring up this point earlier. Bibi Netanyahu was supposed to deliver a speech before Congress, I think this week, and he canceled it because of the U.S.'s vote within the UN Security Council of a permanent ceasefire. He's not here because of that.
It's a lasting ceasefire, but continue.
Great. Still, he's not here because of that. That's progress.
Okay,
That's
but doesn't
exactly
that
what
just
you would
go to
want. That's the
show how
difference.
much we've
One
elapsed?
second, ma'am. It goes to show your level of privilege that between the multitude of communities that you preach on here to be for, the marginalized communities, the distressed communities that are going to be at play here in this next election. This is the difference between night and day for these people. It's the difference between whether or not there's going to be any effort of a ceasefire in Gaza for the Palestinian people or not. It's a difference between night and day of whether or not gay people and trans people are going to have rights protected in America, or whether or not there's going to be a permanent abortion ban. This is what's at play. And to say that they're at an equal playing field is completely removed from reality.
Okay, well,
Yeah, it's
I
a
think that's
false
kind of a
equivalence.
level of your privilege to sit there and talk about
My privilege? Tell me what privilege I have.
I don't know. I'm the child of an immigrant. Okay, so you want to talk about
So what's my privilege? What's my privilege in America?
I mean, I don't know you, buddy.
Okay,
I don't.
get off my ass.
Listen, here's what you're not getting. Here, Principal, this is what you're not getting, okay? All right? I don't think that Joe Biden is the best Democratic candidate there could possibly be, but here is the reality. He give a B- to, okay? You
B-.
have
That's wow.
Listen,
okay.
I know you're over here blaming him for some bombs he didn't even drop. So give me a break.
Okay.
Like you're over here like, "Oh yeah, he's over there pushing the buttons." Like, do you think really that Joe Biden would be like, "Yeah, keep doing what you're doing"? If he had the option to stop it, do you think he would stop it?
It came
Okay,
out
all right,
not
yeah.
too long ago that Biden knew all along that Israel was using what they call dumb bombs that are not precise, and that he knew that there was no efforts being made to not injure or unalive civilians.
I'm aware of that. So
yeah, maybe he's not.
But he's not the one. He's not the one dropping the bomb. I'm sorry.
It doesn't matter. We are funding.
I'm sure. Yeah.
We are giving the bombs to them to press the button to use.
Well, we have joint military things with them, but that's beside the point because it doesn't matter. Even if you had a smart bomb, you're dropping it in residential buildings, so it doesn't matter.
For decades that he's a Zionist, that if Israel did not exist, he would intentionally create Israel just for the geopolitical advantages.
And do you think that you think that Joe Biden is behind unaliving a bunch of people to do that?
Do I think I'm sorry, say that again. You cut out. And also regarding
so you have a let's just lay this out really quick as concisely as I can, okay? You have trans rights that the Republicans want to take away, gay rights that the Republicans want to take away. You have women's rights that the Republicans want to take away.
Okay,
You
can we
have,
talk
hold
about
on a
the women's
second,
rights really
please,
quickly?
hold on just one second. You have the war in Gaza that is not going to change. You have the Middle East as a whole that is going to suffer unrepairable damage. And you have Ukraine that is going to face a full-blown genocide. That's not including all the EPA stuff. That's not including the terrible policies that led to... But Donald Trump made sure Iran had nuclear weapons. Like, I don't know how the anything beats that. Whatever. You're having all of these things, and the best you can give me is that in one instance, Joe Biden is only slightly better in terms of that than Trump.
Okay, as far as women's rights, Biden literally said, quote, I've never been supportive of, it's my body, I can do what I want with it. Does that sound like somebody who's really going to go up to the bat for women's rights? Or is
When
it
did he
just
say
someone
that?
that is it,
Yeah, when did he say
let's
that?
see. This was in the New Yorker.
Oh, that's a legit... Isn't the New Yorker?
No, it's
They're right
not.
leaning.
No, they're not.
I'd say they are.
This is a direct quote from Biden. I'm not like...
Oh, wait, hold on. I'm going to play this really quick.
President Trump is going to make a determination what he thinks is great for the country and what's fair for the country. But the fact that I was able to terminate Roe v. Wade after 50 years of trying, they worked for 50 years. I've never seen anything like it. They worked, and I was so honored to have done it. Well, I did something that...
Okay, yeah, sure. Okay, that's fine. I'm not saying that Trump is some champion for women's rights. What I'm saying is, just because Biden is virtue signals doesn't mean
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna be honest with you. How much do you know
legislation and policy to actually make a difference?
Do you know
Who cares what anybody says? Politicians lie. That's my point.
I'm sure
Biden is a serial liar.
Yeah, I'm sure you think that.
And
anyways,
so is Trump. Trump is a pathological liar.
Can you tell me what Cambridge Analytica is, or the Internet Research Agency, or HackerX, or any of that? Can you tell me any of that information?
Cambridge Analytica, the whole situation with Facebook that, basically made it so that people, pushed more right-leaning stuff in the algorithm on Facebook. There was that personality quiz and all that stuff.
What about the Internet Research Agency? Russian bot farms, I'll say.
Okay, are we really going to go with Russiagate right now?
No, I'm just asking you if you know what these things are.
I know what Russian bot farms are. Do you know what Israeli bot farms are? Do you know what anything? By the way,
yes.
Yeah, there's also Iranian bot farms, and there's Chinese bot farms. Yeah, right. But the Russian ones are particularly effective because they do this.
They're not.
Yeah, they are.
Also, did you know Hillary Clinton had Russian bot farms?
Pause for a second, thanks. No, they are. They're very effective. In fact, we see this all the time. During COVID, we would see disinformation end up on websites that were owned by Russians and then end up at city council meetings within a week. They are the ones that promoted
but that is like
COVID
the typical
disinformation.
DNC playbook, is that anything they don't agree with, they just say that's a Putin puppet,
Please,
a Russian
please stop
bot.
talking. Please, you don't
Susan
understand.
Sarandon did something. Like,
You don't. She's just not even listening. You're not listening, okay? I know that you think that you're acting completely rational and your beliefs are completely rational, but the fact is you have not been able to substantiate in any way how Donald Trump is equal to Joe Biden. And this is part of conditioning done by predominantly Russian bot farms, where they in 2016, I know it's so hard to hear that you've been brainwashed. Yeah.
Okay.
I know. In 2016, I don't know if you know this. Do you know that there was an incredibly low turnout that year?
And yeah, because nobody wanted to vote for Hillary Clinton or Trump.
Right. And do you know why nobody wanted to vote for Hillary? In part,
because
you're right. Listen, in part, you're right. Hold on. In part, you're right. She's a bad candidate. She's a terrible candidate. But something else happened.
Also,
the
hold on.
And this has been
literally rigged the primaries. The Supreme Court
They didn't rig the primaries.
No, they did. The Supreme Court even came out and ruled that the DNC is a private corporation. They don't have to choose who has the most
Supreme Court did
delegates.
not rule on this.
Yes, they did.
What
Hillary
case?
Clinton won the most delegates. That was not the argument about 2016. Again, you're just showing how much you don't know. Stop. The reason people did not show up to vote for Hillary is she was a really unlikable candidate. It was easier for the Russians to do this. Russians, Iranians, and Chinese. And I don't know that the Chinese worked with I don't think they had a preferred candidate at that time, but The Russians at least did. So did the Iranians. The Russians had a preferred candidate. That preferred candidate was Donald Trump. And they pushed disinformation. And one of the narratives that came out of that was they created this significant division, right? This purity, where if you support Black Lives Matter, and this happened, if you support Black Lives Matter, shit would be fed into your algorithms. They would inundate your Facebook pages, different various blogs, the list goes on. They would act in comment sections, and they would essentially attempt to get you frustrated, not only at the other side, but your own party. This is why you see like an immense amount of unity among the Republicans, no matter what the Donald Trump does. But the moment that you have a situation like Gaza and Israel, where Russians can exploit, and they pit not only you against Republicans, but in this instance are pitting you against Joe Biden by this weird ass purity test. And that's what's happening.
It's not a purity test. I'm against purity tests.
Okay, then why are you asking that Donald Trump or that Joe Biden be perfect?
I'm not asking that he be perfect as a person. I'm asking that I want perfect policy.
You ain't ever going to get it. Congratulations, I saved you 20 plus years. You ain't ever going to get it.
I don't know. I mean, FDR had really good economic policy. I know he
was also violently racist. He did nothing about the South.
So is Biden, though.
Listen, listen. Did she say JFK? Or did she say
so was Biden?
Yeah, FDR. Yeah, FDR did nothing about the South. FDR refused to address the South, refused to address the lynchings that were going on there.
Okay, so has Biden. There's been tons of lynchings that he hasn't.
What the fuck?
Wait, isn't this your argument? Wait, but okay, awesome. Listen, even if you believe that, you just told me that FDR was a perfect president, so you shouldn't care about that other with Joe Biden. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, hold on, stop for a second. Stop talking. You're muted. Stop talking. I'm not going to do with the interruption. She doesn't get it. It's wild. You literally just admitted that this is forgivable. Well, Joe Biden does that too. Your argument is that FDR is perfect and should be forgiven for the racist shit he did. Like, that's what you're saying. Oh, she got violated. She got to go.
Oh, good.
That's what she's saying, though. It's like, oh, well, FDR's perfect, but he ignored the South.
Right. He only had internment camps for the Japanese.
Just to point out, he didn't do any of the lynchings, but he said nothing. That doesn't bother you. Either that or you don't know about it, which proves my point. But it is interesting. There's like, Joe Biden is doing more to stop the Israel-Palestine conflict than FDR did to stop the lynchings in the South. It's
true.
So it is a weird take. It's like, this is the point that I'm making, right? Like when I'm talking about Russian bots and people that have been brainwashed, it's the craziest thing because you can't convince them that they've been brainwashed. You have Russian bots in your chat telling you and reiterating and promoting this idea that Joe Biden and Donald Trump are equal. And that's the crazy part. You have Donald Trump for all of the policy reasons that I just listed. He's quoting Funny Mustache Man. He's setting up a genocide for migrants. He is evil on every level. And you guys, like they did with the Chancellor of the Weimar Republic, treated him like a pariah. Even though the economy was getting better, sure, he had some issues. The economy was getting better. Germany was doing better. And they replaced him with a Funny Mustache Man because they felt like, it doesn't matter anyways. And what happened? Anybody? We have gone so far down the rabbit hole of like, just this like full-blown people fanatic idea. You know what I mean? I don't like Joe Biden for a lot of things, right? To say that this will be equal if Donald Trump is in office is wild because Joe Biden is never going to try and overthrow the United States government.
Joe Biden's not going to appoint a Supreme Court that's favorable of doing away with Roe v. Wade or gay rights.
Project 2025.
He's never going to indemnify the police.
Which is a fascist manifesto. I don't get it because like one side is like got this serial essayer that is a career criminal, committed fraud, has 91 felonies, the list goes on. And the other side has this guy that's like trying to play the fence. Okay, one's not good. But, and you have a guy that, I mean, this is what you're up against. Fascism, kind of corporatist. Fascism, kind of corporatist. And I am listen, like I learned this about Bernie Sanders, right? Which is that it would have been nice to have him, right? But it became clear to me that you are never going to have a situation in the current political climate where somebody like Bernie Sanders wins. Because of the fact that America wants stability before they want change. And if you were in a situation, in this, like in the electorate, I learned like Bernie Sanders didn't win. He wasn't going to win. And I thought that going into 2020, he would take on Joe Biden and America would be like, Buck, we're done with Donald Trump. We want some progress. No, they want stability. They want stability. They want Joe Biden. They want stability. And you're in this situation where Bernie Sanders lost. And it became apparent to me that this is not going to be this, oh, we revolution. And then this is not gonna be a situation where, oh, we do a revolution and we get a Bernie in office. And then no, it's gonna be a situation where, oh, we won a revolution, but I'm not gonna vote for the guy that's not the revolution. And then you're gonna lead to a fascist revolution. That's what we're trying to prevent. All we are trying to do here, okay, is get to a point where Gen Z, millennials, Gen X is the predominant voting bloc. And then we don't have to worry about a Donald Trump anymore. See how that works? And then we can go ahead and take our chances at this or that or the other. But right now we need stability. And for all of Biden's faults, which there are a lot, one thing you can't deny, he is the single most progressive candidate, the single most progressive president we have had since FDR, period. Full stop. Over Obama, over Clinton, the list goes on. I would say maybe Carter's close. I really hate the I hate it. It's just this fake posturing on like, oh, this situation is bad, therefore they're equal. The
I know.
Okay.
That's what I asked early on.
All right. Well, listen, let's just do this, okay? Do you think that this is what they're doing, right? They're like, okay, well, that guy committed murder. That's bad. He should spend them. That's bad. And then trying to say that somehow that's like equivalent, or somebody committed manslaughter, we'll say. And somehow that's equivalent to like what Jeffrey Dahmer did. They're both bad. They're not equal. It is the same as 2016. It's the same as 2016. You have a group of people going, oh, this candidate's just as bad as the other. There's no reason to show up. And then these same people freak the out when Donald Trump's in office and go, oh my God, he's doing this, that, and the other. Yeah, you did it.
I know.
You're the reason. Hi, it's me. I'm the problem.